Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into my finances all the way from 2017 until now. So like when I very first graduated high school, and choices that I've made, regrets that I have. You guys, if you've been on this journey with me, you've seen me do tons of luxury designer bag shopping hauls, buy luxury cars. You've seen me start my candle business and watch that fail, my dancewear business and watch that fail. And I never even really addressed that with you guys. So in this video, I kind of want to just tell you guys some choices that I've made, regrets that I've made, how my finances have changed from then to now. So if you guys want to hear more about that, then keep watching. Before I get started into the video, I do want to thank my sponsor, PDS Debt. We all know that debt starts slowly and then all at once. Next thing you know, you're getting letters in the mail, legal action being taken, you're getting calls from debt collectors. PDS Debt helps you fight back. They have helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. They craft a personal plan designed just for you to help you save money and get out of debt faster, whether it's credit card bills, personal loans, medical bills, or collections. PDS Debt can help you. You do not have to have a certain credit score. They are also rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau and have thousands of 5-star reviews. You are 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free debt assessment at pdsdebt.com/Cristina. That's pdsdebt.com/Cristina. But without further ado, let's get back to the video. Hey guys, ignore how I'm looking right now and where I'm at. I'm at my parents' house and I'm here because I'm recovering from my boob job still and they're helping me out with the Z's. But I was editing this video and I realized that I made a huge mistake. I don't know how this happened, but the entire video is 1 year behind. So I start the video in 2017 when in reality it should start in 2016 because that's really when I started my YouTube channel, in 2016, not 2017. And then I said that I started dancing at Gold in 2018, but I actually started dancing there in 2017. Even I said that I got pregnant in 2023, but in real life I got pregnant in 2022 and I had a Z since 2023. I don't know how I messed that up, but the whole video is 1 year behind. So just know that when I'm saying something happened in like 2019, it was really in 2018. But the order of the video is still right. Everything that I'm saying is still true and in the right order. It's just a year behind. But yeah, you guys, enjoy. All right, you guys, we're going to take it way back to 2017. I have my little notes so that I don't forget anything. But basically in 2017, that's when I very first started my YouTube channel. I was still in high school and I started posting videos literally just for fun. I had no intentions of ever making any money off of this. And literally, I had way more videos from when I was in high school. But once people from my school started seeing the videos, I low-key started deleting a bunch of videos. And I kind of regret that because there was some videos that it would have been so cute to see. Like, imagine if I would have done a day in my life at McDonald's back then. That would have been so cute. But I had a lot of videos that I did delete because I was embarrassed that some people from my high school saw them. Now, growing up, I wasn't, like, broke, but we also did not have money. My parents basically just got us everything that we needed in life. But anything beyond that was obviously up to us. We didn't grow up rich or, like, with a lot of things. So I did start working at McDonald's my junior year of high school, and I worked there all junior year and all senior year, and I would work like hella in the summertime. So I ended up saving $12,000 by the time I graduated high school. And with that $12,000, I bought myself butt implants and a used car. So by the time I started college, I was broke AF. I literally had no money to my name because I spent all of it on butt implants and a used car. So low-key, I don't think I did that bad in 2017. Even though I did spend my entire life savings on butt implants and a car, I feel like the butt implants were an investment and it gave me the confidence to eventually start working at the club. And then the used car was literally $1,200 from Craigslist. And I did need a car to get to and from school and like from my job. So now let's start into 2018. So now in 2018, I enter college and I am working at Twin Peaks. It's basically just like a restaurant. And then I overheard one of the girls saying that she knew someone who was waitressing at this sports bar and she was making like $600 a night. So after she said that, I like looked it up and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go there, like $600 a night, hell yeah. So I ended up going to that sports bar that ended up being Gold Room, the strip club that I currently work at. And I ended up going there originally wanting to be a waitress, but at the time I was only 18 years old, so I was too young to waitress. And it's funny because now I waitress there, but you have to be 21 to serve alcohol. So I ended up becoming a dancer instead of a waitress, and it was because of the house mom, Denise. She was so nice. I loved her so much. She was so welcoming. So because of her, I stayed. But to be honest, that first year of 2018, I made no money whatsoever. I would barely come because I was a full-time student and I was like focused mainly just on school, and I would only come like maybe once a month or twice a month. Like I was barely making any money. I did not know how to talk to guys. I had fresh butt implants that didn't move, no chi-chis. Like it was just, you know, I wasn't confident. And honestly, there were several times that I wanted to leave and just not work there anymore. But I feel like Denise kind of kept me there because she always motivated me and told me that I could do it. And I just felt like a lot of comfort in her. So that's kind of part of the reason that I stayed. Now let's fast forward to 2019. So now I'm a year into working at the club, and although in 2018 I didn't really make any money from the club because I wasn't good at selling or talking, and I was really shy and nervous, like it just wasn't I wasn't the type of girl that I feel like typically works at one of those industries. But somehow I made it a year through with Denise's help, and now it's 2019. So I used all the little money that I did make in 2018 to get my boobs done. And so now we're in 2019. I got my boobs done. I've been there for a year. Now I'm starting to make more money at the club, and I'm starting to post more on YouTube. So now I'm thinking of dropping out of college because I feel like I'm making so much money at the club that I don't need college anymore. And I felt like now that I was working more nights at the club, I was missing a lot of school. I was waking up late, and I just started spending the money, honestly, so willy-nilly. I did my first $16,000 shopping haul because I thought I've never had money in my entire life. This was now in 2019, the first time I started making real money. So I literally had no idea what to do with it, and I thought it was going to get taken away from me. So that's why I felt like I was getting my implants, and I was like, no one can take these. If everything fails, no one can take my implants, no one can take my purses. Like I just started thinking about materialistic things that I wanted because I literally never grew up having money. So then I also traded my Jeep in, my little $1,200 Jeep. I traded it in for a Mercedes. And when I got my Mercedes, I had to put it under my parents' name because I had no source of income. I couldn't just go and buy a Mercedes in cash because the IRS would be like, where'd you get this money from? And they weren't going to approve me to like be on a payment plan for the Mercedes because I was never paying my taxes yet, only from my McDonald's money. So they weren't going to approve me. So everything was going under my parents' name. And then I also started thinking like that I wanted to like move out or start thinking of buying a house. And then my mom made like a comment to me because I think at this time I was kind of thinking I was like the shit a little bit because, you know, 2019, I'm 20 years old and I'm somehow making all this money out of nowhere when I've never had money. And my mom made a comment to me like that I was hood rich, and I was like I was very offended and confused by that comment. I didn't know what she meant, and I got all mad at her. And then she's like, let me explain it to you. Like, you're making all this money, but you're not paying taxes. You're just spending it. Like, just because you have this money, you have nothing to show for it. You can't even get a car under your name. And honestly, I'm so grateful that I have my parents and I have somebody above me that was looking out for me, because some people that are in this industry and they start making money at like 18 or 19, they don't know what to do with it and they have no guidance. So luckily I did have my parents who were kind of telling me like, girl, like humbling me and like telling me what real life was. So it was at the end of 2019 that I decided that I was not going to enroll in college the following year. So I was just going to make sure that I got a good GPA in 2019 so that in 2020 I was going to stop going. And that if I decided later in the future I wanted to go back, I at least stopped going while my GPA was good so I don't like ruin it. So I stopped going to college. I paid off all my college loans, and then I created an LLC for myself so that I could start paying taxes in 2019 so that I can be a real person in the world, and that if I wanted a car or an apartment, it could be under my name, and that I can start establishing myself and not just being like, oh, I have money, let me go spend it and buy whatever and think I'm all that in a bag of chips. So I feel like 2019 is when my like career started on YouTube, and then 2020 was probably my best year. So by 2020, I was no longer in college. That's when my very first viral video went of the day in the life of a stripper that got like 15 million views. I moved into my very first ever apartment. So at this time, now I'm making the most money I've ever made in my entire career, probably to this date. I was making the most money off YouTube views, and then I got a manager. Now I was making money off sponsors, and I was also making the most money I had ever made in my life at the club. I was working the most amount of days. My body was healed. I was young. I was single. I was thriving. I felt like I was so beautiful during that time. Like, that's a time that I would look back at a lot, and later I'll get to that. But I would like regret like that time in my life. I'll put like a picture and video, and I was so excited about things. I wanted to do traveling stripper vlogs. I was planning on going to Miami, LA. I wanted to collab with other content creators. I had all these things planned, and I felt like I was just on top of the world in 2020. And now, because I did start making my LLC in 2019 like my mom told me, in 2020 I was able to finally get a car under my name, which was my Porsche Macan. So I got my apartment under my name and my Porsche, my car, under my name in 2020. So now I felt like I was establishing myself as a person, and I told myself I'd continue to do this so that once I had the certain number of years of taxes, I'd eventually be able to get my own property. So it seemed like everything was going perfect for me. And then in 2020, as we all know, COVID happened. So this is when things start to take a wrong turn for me, because COVID happened. So I had a nose job planned, and I was like, oh, what perfect time to get a nose job than right now. The clubs are closed and everything. So as you guys know, as everyone knows, I got my first nose job, and this is the first surgery I ever got in my entire life that I regretted and hated, because I hated it. It looked horrible in my opinion, and I could not breathe out of one of my nostrils. But basically, I ended up hating my nose. And so at the end of 2020, I was just depressed. The club was gone. There was no more money from the club. Clubs were shut down, and I hated my nose. So low-key, I was even happy the club was closed, because I was like, I wouldn't even want to work anyways right now because my nose is horrible. But luckily, I was still making good money on YouTube. So probably my only regrets from 2020 were obviously my nose job. And then, but I can't tell the future with that, right? I technically didn't have to get my own apartment. I could have just stayed living with my parents, and I did not have to buy a Porsche. I literally had a Mercedes. I don't know why I kept upgrading to freaking better cars when I don't even like driving anyways. All right, so we're ending 2020 with hating my nose, and now starting 2021, I moved into a new luxury apartment. So my first apartment was just like a regular apartment, but then my second one was like in a building with like all the amenities, the gym, the pool, all that. So the rent like doubled because I moved, because I needed another year of good taxes before anyone would approve me to get my own property. So in retrospect, I could have just stayed at my first apartment or with my parents instead of moving to a luxury apartment that was like over $3,000 a month. So that was another stupid move. But I was living in that luxury apartment with my sister and my cousin. And honestly, I feel like maybe during that time I did need to like be out on my own, you know, because I was obviously getting older. And then that's when I started my Tina V dancewear. The Tina V dancewear was extremely successful, and slowly but surely, the clubs started opening back up. But I knew that I wasn't going to go back to the club right away because I did not like my nose. I actually did try going back to the club when they first opened up, but I felt very insecure because a lot of people knew that I got a nose job and knew that I didn't like it, and they knew me personally from like social media. So I felt like everyone knew me, and I felt like everyone was staring at my nose, and I didn't like it, so it just made it worse. So I didn't really want to go back to the club. And then during 2020, I also met a Wrath. So of course, a perfect time to meet a boy when you're insecure about yourself and you don't want to leave your house. So that's a video for another time. But anyways, so that's like when I met a Wrath. And I remember like my cousins, my sister, my cousin, and my best friend were all working at clubs together during COVID. Like they would travel to like different states and stuff to like go to clubs, and I was really jealous and I felt left out. But I did that to myself because I did not want to go because I was too insecure about my nose. So I would just be with a Wrath all the time and like put all my happiness into him and wouldn't want to leave my house. So it was like a bad time for me, and I just knew I had to wait until the end of the year in order to fix my nose. So I just kept holding on to that. But during that time, I also got my toe shortened. I started my dancewear. Like I said, it was very successful. And then at the end of the year, I finally was able to get my second nose job. So my second nose job went well. I was finally able to breathe again, but it was a reconstructive nose job. I went to an amazing doctor, but he did warn me that since it was a reconstructive nose job, that it might need another nose job to fix it because it might not get fixed on the first try. And the important thing was that I was able to breathe. So it was better, but it still wasn't the best. I was able to breathe a lot better, but there was still some things that I didn't like about it. I had this dot that kept coming back. So I knew that I was going to need a third nose job, but I was going to have to wait another year in order to get that third nose job. So now in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like keep myself in the house for another year. And then I started this new like skincare product that made me break out crazy. So my skin and my acne went horrible. So I was like, dang, how did I go from 2020, like I loved my nose, I loved my skin, I loved my life, to now I'm at the end of 2021 and I don't like my nose. My skin is full of acne. I'm very depressed. I don't want to leave my house. I feel so insecure. But then I did end up buying my building because my lease was going to be up after the year for 2021. So I bought the building, but it needed a lot of work. It was very horrible looking, and there was tenants in there, so I had to wait for their leases to end, and then I had to start the work. So at least I was doing other things during that time. I also did a huge $45,000 shopping haul during that time because I felt like the world opened back up and I just wanted to spend money, which was also stupid. And you know, it was smart of me though to buy that building. Good thing I bought that building. So in 2021, I was very rarely going to the club, if ever. If I would go to vlog, it would literally be just to vlog. I wasn't actually going there to work, and it just felt very disingenuous. It felt very like it wasn't me. It wasn't genuine because I knew that I wasn't there actually working like how I was in the beginning. I knew I was there just to make content. So in 2022, I basically announced my departure from the club, that I was no longer going to be working there. So now I announced that I'm no longer working at the club, and now all my money is just coming from my dancewear, my YouTube channel still, and I'm like renovating this building. And the building was nowhere near being done. So for months, I literally lived out of freaking like bags and boxes. Like I didn't have a storage unit. We would stay like at my parents' house for a month, and then a Rat's dad's house, and then hotels for a few months. So during that time, I wanted to start vlogging again, but I obviously wasn't working there myself. So I started vlogging, like being a house mom and vlogging the other girls in other positions and showing them at the club. And honestly, I had a lot of fun doing that. And it was just fun to be able to vlog someone else and not focus on myself. So I really enjoyed doing that. Eventually, the building did get done and we got to move in, but we kind of moved in a little early when it was still getting renovated. And I had no furniture because everything was still taking a long time because of COVID. So I moved into the house, but I didn't have any motivation. I'll put like videos. It was really ugly and like dirty. I had no furniture. I had no motivation to do anything. And then finally at the end of the year, at the end of 2022, it was finally time for me to get my third nose job. So I was so happy because I was like, okay, I'm finally gonna like my nose. Also in 2022, I did another 40K shopping spree, which I should have never done. That's a huge regret. I should have stopped doing the shopping sprees. I did it because I wanted to fill this glam room with stuff, which was so stupid, but whatever. I did that. And then I also built a custom BMW and bought it in full. So there, just right there on those two things, I spent over $100,000. That was so stupid. Why did I do that? Okay, now we're in the year 2023. So now my skin is clear again. And then I got my third nose job and I ended up loving it. So I was happy. Like I started off the year with my skin clear again and my nose. And I was thinking of like other things that I can do now that I was starting to feel like myself again. But then boom, I get pregnant, you guys, with Aziz, and I didn't find out until I was like already 12 weeks in, and it was not a planned pregnancy. And I don't think me and Arath were in a good place during that time either. So, you know, now this just shook my whole entire life around. So once I got pregnant, I quit doing my dancewear because I just didn't feel cute and I wasn't able to wear the stuff and I just wasn't feeling it. I felt like I had a lot on my plate and I was going through a lot moving in and the pregnancy and everything. So I quit doing the dancewear. I put it on pause, like with the intentions of picking it back up again, but I never did. And then I did an $18,000 shopping haul in 2023 because I had a sponsorship that was going to pay me. And then I did the shopping, like I bought all the stuff and then the sponsor ended up canceling. So I spent all that money and then I was going to return everything, but then I just ended up keeping it because I was like, whatever, I'm never going to spend money like this again in my life, so I might as well just keep it. And honestly, that's the last shopping haul I've ever done like that. So that was like a lot of money that I honestly should have just returned the stuff, but I kept it anyways. And then when I got pregnant, my acne started coming back, but only on my forehead. So I cut bangs. I had bangs. I'll put like a picture. But basically I was kind of thinking like, oh, all the work that I did just got ruined again. But at the same time, I didn't care because I was pregnant and that was like my only priority, was basically me just, you know, taking care of the baby that was in my belly. So basically at that time, I wasn't really getting a lot of sponsorships. People weren't really watching me because I went from this exciting like stripper content to like only posting about like my real estate and other people at the club to kind of posting nothing. And then I posted a lot of videos while I was pregnant and then I deleted a bunch of them because like whether it was because I was fighting with the wrath or because I didn't like how I looked and I was having body dysmorphia and just like a lot of things that I was going through. So this was probably when life started humbling me. Like I wasn't working at the club, obviously. I hadn't been for some time. I stopped doing my dancewear. I didn't have a lot of sponsors, and I wasn't really posting on YouTube, so I didn't really have any income at this time. I was just focused on being pregnant, and then I had Aziz, and once I had him, he was just my whole life. Everything was just focused on him. So by 2024, I was fully a stay-at-home mom. I'm not gonna lie, I felt fat because I obviously got bigger during my pregnancy. I didn't work out. I felt like I wasn't taking care of myself. I was too insecure to post. I wasn't making money from the club. Like I said, no sources of income. I was not really posting at all on social media. Arath was now working a trucking job over the road in another state. So I was being basically home alone with Aziz all the time. And I just was reliving the same day over and over again, just cooking, cleaning, taking care of Aziz, which it is such a luxury to be a stay-at-home mom. But sometimes it does get lonely and depressing just reliving the same day and not pouring anything into yourself or having a passion or a purpose or dressing up or getting pretty or having anything for yourself. So I felt like I started to get into that cycle, and I started getting a little depressed, and I started thinking, how did I get here? How did I go from having all this money and all these dreams and ambitions and feeling so good about myself to completely relying on somebody else for money and just living off my savings and watching my savings get lower and lower and just doing this same routine every day? And I just wasn't happy, and I felt stuck. And that's when I decided to start my candle business, which was my second business, because I still wasn't in the mindset of thinking of going back to the club because I didn't like how I looked, and I had a baby now, and I just felt like that wasn't an option. So I started my candle business. After Aziz got to be 1 year old, I started to want to do more stuff for myself. So I got my Lipo 360, which was my mommy makeover. You know, I filmed a video on that. I got my butt shots. I just started doing like my surgeries and like pouring back into myself again. Even though people were talking crap to me, I don't care. It made me feel like me again slowly. So I started doing my surgeries again. I started feeling like I wanted to go back to work eventually. Maybe after Aziz maybe turned 2, because I felt like I just didn't have a purpose. I also did not really have time to make my candles for the candle business because I was being a stay-at-home mom. So I ended up paying someone else to make the candles for me and paying someone to help me with my social media. And it turns out I was just losing money left and right trying to make these candles work because I just felt like I needed to have a business and I needed to do this. Even though I really love candles, I was literally losing more money just trying to have this business. So I ended up quitting the candles. I think I ended up quitting the candles this year, but yeah, towards the end of 2024, I was already like, the candles are not going to be a thing because I'm not making any money off of this. So then I really started to just think about my life, and I think this is when life really was like humbling me, and I was thinking like I said, how did I get here? How did I get from having all these ambitions and goals and my own money to literally just being in this house every day, doing the same routine and relying on somebody else? And I just kept thinking the smartest decision I ever made was buying this property and renovating it, because now it was already worth like $300,000 more than when I bought it. So I was thinking, you know what, with the rest of my savings, I'm going to buy a second property. Instead of just watching my savings go down and down every month or every whatever, I'm going to invest the rest of my money into a second property. And that's what I'm going to do. I sold my BMW, my dream BMW that I built from scratch and I bought in full. I sold it and I bought a used mom car. That's my Mazda that I love and I hold near and dear to my heart and I will never get rid of until the wheels fall off. So I sold that car and I had my savings and I had the money from my car and I was touring a bunch of properties. I was either going to do a flip or buy a second property to rent out, whichever one came first. So that was like my mission towards the end of 2024, was just to find a property. And I was just getting into like styling the house, and I was like, I'm going to get these tattoos removed and I'm going to dye my hair. And I was just making all these plans for the future. I wanted to change my style. I wanted to change my house. I wanted to start investing again. I wanted to do me now because my son was about to be 2 years old, and now I was finally starting to feel like myself again. And finally, we make it to the year 2025. At the beginning of the year, I announced that I was going to be making some changes, that I was going to start getting my tattoos removed, which I have started getting them removed. As you can tell, they're fading a lot. I'm so excited to not have any tattoos on my hand or on my ankle and stuff like that. So I'm getting those removed. I started doing so much design to my house. I'll put pictures and videos. I've updated every single inch of my house with wallpaper and made it custom and made it feel like me. And made it feel girly and alive, and I renovated the buildings from inside and out. I ended up finding a second property. I didn't do a flip, but I bought a second investment property. I rented it out, and I got all this done before returning back to work. So then I also announced this year that I was returning back to work, and I was going to be a waitress at Gold Room instead of a dancer. Before I got to go back to work, though, I was delayed because Aziz was having major health problems and he kept winding up in the hospital, and this pushed me even further to realize that this is why I need to go back to work, and I need to buy more properties, and I need to have financial freedom so that if something happens to my son, I can be with him, and I'm not just a sitting duck just waiting for things to go wrong in my life. I feel like I really took action, and I ended up going light. I've never had light hair like this. I really like it. And I just, I redid my boobs because my boob ruptured, and I feel like I've just really been pouring into me this year. My boobs are literally not even 2 weeks out. I already love them. But I feel like I just have been doing everything this year. I have 2 properties now. I'm back to work. I'm saving up to either pay off the second property so that I can have that property pay all my bills, or maybe even buy a third property. I'm still deciding. I feel like it's a safer route though, just to pay off that second property, so then with the rent that I'm receiving from that, it'll pay all my bills like for this building. But I'd rather play it safe just in case anything bad happens, like it happened to me in 2024 and 2023 or whatever. But basically, this is all to just say that I had a journey. I made mistakes. I bought cars that I shouldn't have, did shopping sprees that I shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, I did make good choices. I did buy properties. I did invest in things. And I still have the opportunity to work and grow. And honestly, I feel like I am a better me than I have ever been in all the years, because I feel like I'm more confident in myself and I'm not as insecure as I was before. And I honestly feel like the only time I really felt insecure was when my nose was like this and I had a whole bunch of acne. But I feel like more sure of myself. I feel like I don't let what other people say or think of me dictate my life anymore. I feel like I'm older, I'm more sure of myself, I know more what I want. So basically, that's all to just say that I'm really proud of the journey that I've been on. I have made mistakes financially and coming into money when I didn't know what to do with it. So if you take anything from this, it's just to be smart, make decisions, think about your future, have a plan. I really want to start helping other women. So my candle business obviously is over, my dance wear is over, and I even thought about like getting my realtor's license and getting into real estate, but I don't know exactly what I want to do right now. I am still kind of a stay-at-home mom because I only work 2 to 3 days a week, and I'm really with Aziz still a lot by myself. His dad still works over the road. So I'm grateful that my job allows me to still be with my son all the time, and I just really want the rest of the year to focus on getting a good schedule. I have my tia back soon, who nannies for me, cooks, cleans, helps me watch Aziz. So I want to be able to go to Pilates, spend time with my son, go do activities, work, save my money, invest in more real estate. And I also want to be able to help you guys. I don't know exactly how I can do that, so if you have ideas below, like I said, I was thinking of getting my realtor's license, or maybe starting. I don't want to do those things where it's like, buy this package and I'll teach you how to get rich quick and do it with no money, because that's not true. I don't think there's a quick way to do it. I think it does take hard work, and if it's something that you're considering getting into the club and you need advice, or if you already work at the club or you want me to help you make a financial plan, like that's the type of things I want to do, like one-on-one things. So let me know what your guys' thoughts and ideas are about that. But I feel like after my journey, it would have been really good to have like older me helping younger me. So just let me know, because I know a lot of times when I'm at work, like some of the girls will ask me like advice or how I bought my building or like tips and stuff. So I feel like that's something that I would really also like to do. But that's pretty much it, you guys, for kind of my life journey. I don't even know what this video even really was. It was kind of just, I don't know, I went down this rabbit hole thinking that I ruined my whole life and I made all these mistakes. But then when I really started like digging into it and trying to find out why I made all the decisions I did, I kind of was like, no girl, like you were just doing what was right for you at the time. And everyone has a journey, and that's your journey, and the destination is who knows where. But I just feel like I went through a lot, and I got so extremely lucky, and I'm so extremely grateful for all of you guys, and I couldn't give up on myself. And I'm glad that I still poured into myself, even though sometimes people talk bad about me for getting surgeries or doing all this. I need to also still love and take care of myself on top of being a mom. And yeah, you guys, hopefully I can continue to invest and do all the great things. But let me know down below what you guys thought of this video and ideas of something that I can do with this. But yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope you liked the video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.